Good evening and welcome. It's Stamford Chidge here. It's Friday. It's a bit past 7:30. My fault, all my fault. But it's delightful to be on the Chelsea FanCast tonight. I can't think why. It might have a lot to do with beating Spurs. Oh, yes. JK, how wondrous to see you, my long-lost friend. How are you?
Long lost, but Chidge, I haven't seen
It's been a week since I've
It's
seen
been a
you.
week. It has. It's been Monday. I'm great, actually. Yes, I'm very happy.
So great you felt.
It was fantastic performance.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, and joyous at the same time. And I have to say, started for me by, we'll get onto this, but I need to mention it now. The banner of
Conor Gallagher.
Conor, overcome with emotion. I actually, when it said the little rubric at the front, Chelsea since birth, I've skipped a beat. You know, I went, yeah, this is something that we need to take into consideration over this. It was a wonderful banner and a wonderful moment to see it unfold. And he had an absolute stormer of a game, and as did most of them, as did nearly all of them. 10 of them did. And I you know, if this is the template, he's doing okay. And you wonder whether this has been because it's been forced on him by injuries, this shape of this team. But to see the amount of effort made was and competition was absolutely fantastic. Some players that we'd written off early in the season, And interesting, the press conference, which we'll get on to a bit later, was...
Do it now. Why not?
No, I want to give a few hints, Chidge. Hints about it. Hints about the whole thing.
You're such a tease. You're such a tease.
I have a tease. It's the aspect of being able to compete that he goes on about in the press conference. And I have to say, the journos asked the most ridiculous questions, as always. But in this instance, nothing about how fantastically the team had played, or was he pleased with certain aspects of whose players' performance, and how nothing. Absolutely nothing. You just think, and some of the a couple of stupid questions, you think, well, how do these people become journalists? What are they? Well, anyway, enough. But yeah, to answer your question, very basically, yeah, it was great. I stayed on. I was thrown out of the East Stand in the end by the stewards because I'd stayed on so long, because we were so pleased with the performance. But that's what happens if the joy that is created by us playing well and winning, particularly against Spurs, but in any team, the very fact that we played so well, and they're all saying, oh, we played dreadfully. And of course, it wasn't that they played dreadfully. We prevented them from playing well as
Thank you.
Other aspect of it. So Tony, the great Tony Glover is here, everybody. As you can see, TG, of course. Grocer Jack himself. Grocer Jack is it true what Mummy said you won't come back? He's on tonight. So we're going to get...
How is he?
Great opinion tonight, as always, when Tony's on.
Yeah, I'm very well, and I'm really pleased to be back. I actually got a comment from my next door neighbour in the ground last night at Bexley Blues. Mark, if you're listening, a shout out to you, mate. He said, "Oh, you haven't been on for a while." I thought, you know what? It's probably only been about 4 weeks, but it seems ages because everything's such a bloody blur these days.
Yeah,
but I do agree with JK. I thought all 11 put in a shift yesterday, and I really, really enjoyed it. There is something about an under the lights atmosphere at Stamford Bridge which you cannot beat, especially against them as well. And it was a lovely evening. And I would say that just to go on to JK's point about the team and everything else, I actually put in my observations, if you read them, that even you two would have got the forecast probably right for last night, because there basically wasn't anyone else.
No, Tony. Chelsea let me down because I said 2-1. They could have let a goal in, and then I could have got maximum points.
Not about the team selection, because honestly, that was the only available 11.
I know. I didn't see. Somebody I didn't see that realised was unfit. I think because of course we did the show on Monday, so we didn't know. So I think I might have had Dizazi in there, That worked out well. We will be talking all about this. Do not worry. We will be talking all about this in part 1. And then in part 2, we've got another match on Sunday against West Ham, as I've decided now to call them. So in the notes that the boys have got, every time West Ham are written down. Well, oh no, I'm lying. Actually, I didn't do it consistently because I am like the club, consistently inconsistent.
Could you not say every time you say West Ham? Could I not say "Come on, you Irons," but in an ironic way?
You can do what you like. You normally do.
Oh, well.
No, I mean that with warmth. I mean, because that's what I desire of you on a Friday night and a Monday night. You know.
Thank you.
Anyway, we should remind people who are already listening on this platform that they can listen to us on this platform, because that's kind of makes so much sense to me, doesn't it? You know. Yeah, for those of you listening on Mixlr, don't forget you can listen to us on Mixlr every Monday and Friday around 7:30 p.m. by going to chelsea-fancast.mixlr.com. And of course, there's a chat room there, which is lovely because you can all play. However, you may find that it's a bit sparse in there these days, largely because you can now watch us live. Look, here we are.
Live.
You can watch us live on YouTube, YouTube and Facebook. Again, at the same time, because it all happens at the same time. So get on it, people. We're having a lot of fun doing it. We've had some really nice comments from people about the fact that we've gone to YouTube. So well done, JK, for badgering me about it for about 5 years.
I think I hectored you as well.
Yeah, you hectored me as well. And now I'm going to do the same back to you, because you hectored and badgered me to get us on YouTube for about 5 years. And I've been hectoring and badgering you to get your fan bites on YouTube. And still they're not there, and I'm going to keep hectoring you.
No, I did 2 last week.
I'm going to be Hector's fucking housemate.
No, I did 2 last week, Chidge.
Did you? Oh, yeah. I never look at the YouTube channels. Well done. If you stick them up there at the same time as you do on Twitter, I've said to you this: if you stick them on there first, you can seed it to Twitter and everything.
I know, but I get it's such a palaver.
If you stick them up, I'll do the rest. Just upload them, and then I'll do the rest. How does that sound?
I'll read pet, as they say up north. I'll read pet.
We have a deal. All right. Now, what else is going on? Many thanks to all of you who've just coughed up for your Patreon subs this month, and for those that have just joined us, we do love you so much. Now, listen, there's no pressure. If basically, you just bung us a few quid every month, which kind of helps me pay for the, doing all of this. There's no pressure. There really isn't. We love you equally, whether you do or you don't. If you do, I saw this on London is Blue. I mean, they're so clever with their marketing and their commercial view, aren't they? But they said, do you know what? I'm going to have to go and look and see at their YouTube channel, because it just really tickled me. And I thought, oh God, that's something that they do that we haven't even thought about, because we're just so bloody backward, basically, on the.
We're just so old, Chidge. We're so old.
I know. We just don't get it. We just don't get it at all. I'm now determined to find this. So I'm going to, what did I say about us being a complete shambles? We are a complete shambles. Oh, actually, I can't find it because I have to play the fucking video, won't I? So that's like completely stupid of me. Anyway, a welcome gift. I think they mentioned the word welcome gift. So we've been doing a welcome gift forever. This is not new. It's just that I've never called it that. But the welcome gift is, if you want it, it's a Kerry Dixon banner, like a little mini one from the one that's kind of hanging up on the Matthew Harding upper. You are entitled to a welcome gift, which is the Kerry Dixon banner. And of course, you can join our private and exclusive, I think those are the words they use, private and exclusive Discord group, where occasionally I pop in to rant. So does Tony, actually. JK's far too important. You never see him in there, although he is a member of the Discord group. Yes, he's like my mother on Facebook. He's like just observes. I know, it's too much for you. Too much social media for you, isn't it, really?
I can't cope.
I know. Anyway, look, it's great fun. Patreon.com/Chelsea Fancast. And thank you to everybody who's joined in. Now, the other thing, last thing before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of this show, which is talking about the match. I know you all want us to do that. I will get on with this quickly. But very appropriate, we have this at the moment, given what JK said at the opening of the show, which was referring to the wonderful Conor Gallagher banner that the We're the Shed boys did. About a month or so ago, we released these wonderful T-shirts, which are, if they sell Conor, we riot. Chelsea Fancast T-shirts. So by all means, purchase one, it's very easy to do. chelseafancast.com/category/merchandise on our website if you want to go and find one of those. Or alternatively, just email us. Email Chelsea, the Chelsea Special at gmail.com and tell me what size you want and tell me your address, and then pay on the PayPal page for the Chelsea Special at gmail.com on the friends and family bit, mind, because we don't want to be paying any more charges. But if it's 25 quid, including postage and package in the UK, 28 quid in Europe, and 30 quid in North America. And we're also doing these lovely little mugs as well, white ones and ones with blue inside. 15 quid, 18 quid, and 20 quid, as I recall, for the States, well, UK, Europe, and the States. Same idea. Email the Chelsea Special at gmail.com, pay via PayPal on the same address. Tell us what colour you want. All very simple, really. So there you go. And it supports us, it supports Connor, and it's a nice way to make a statement such as this, Tony, isn't it? Tony? It's saying that, isn't it, basically? And we like a bit of that on the Chelsea Fancast. We always have. Right, after this, we will be talking about that fantastic match last night, Chelsea versus Spurs. Yes, indeed. Did we hear much of that last night? I heard the atmosphere was really good. I mean, obviously, by the way, confession, people, I had to work last night, so I couldn't go. So the lovely Matt. Yeah, I know. Well, the lovely Matt.
I cast my gaze across the ground to where you sit, and I waved at a bloke, and I thought, that's either Matt Berry or Chidge.
No, it was Matt Skilton.
Yeah,
Matt Skilton.
Matt. Sure, right, yeah.
You got half of it right. It was definitely Matt.
Yeah.
But anyway, my loss was his gain. But did we? I mean, I heard the atmosphere was really good. I mean, there was a lot.
They didn't do that. They tend not to do that at home games. I haven't heard that for ages.
I always do it when I'm there.
They did a huge carefree, several huge carefrees, which were enormous. But that I keep saying this about the atmosphere there. If we play well and are at it from the beginning, which they were. The fans get behind them, it's just what happens. I'm afraid it's that thing of people saying you should always get behind the team even when they're playing badly. It's difficult. It's difficult to do it just because you see them playing badly and you're not inspired to. Most of it becomes just gripes. You're saying, for fuck's sake, come on, do it, come on. I felt that it was a very open game on occasions, and that led to the excitement. They really added to that, the Spurs, because they were struggling on so many occasions, and they just wanted to get the ball up the field as quickly as possible. You could see that was there, particularly after they brought Maddison on, and he attempted to orchestrate everything, but was put in his place. He had a terrible shot and was once again down to the young Alfie Gilchrist, who had an exceptional game. I know we'd written him off after the Arsenal game. He appeared to be out of his depth, but I think you have to appreciate that Arsenal are a stage above Tottenham.
Well, he kept Son in his pocket last night. I thought he was. Yeah. We'll talk about the players in a minute. I'm glad the atmosphere was good. It sounded good on the old telly, but Tony, JK's fan bite. It's lovely to see JK's fan bite so happy as well, actually, after recent nonsense. But it was a great win, and it was a great team effort. And I think, Tony, for me, JK alluded to this, didn't he, in the intro? But it was the emphasis is on team. They all played well. They played like a team. They fought like a team. We said on Monday night, didn't we, JK, that what we needed a repeat of was that effort, that energy, and they were at it. They were at it from the minute go. And I even heard Jamie. Luckily, you didn't have to hear Jamie Redknapp, but I did. But you even heard Jamie Redknapp saying Chelsea clearly wanted it more. And the number of times this season we've said, well, there's one of the reasons we've lost this match is because the other team just wanted it more, and we didn't put in enough fight, and we did. And I loved it. This is what we want to see. They look again. I'll say it again. I said it after Villa, of the second half of Villa. They looked like a top 4 side last night.
Yeah.
This is what we want to see. Brilliant, wasn't it?
It was fabulous. And I mean, I've done obviously I've done the article for the FanCast today, and I try to separate it now from the post-match observations threads that I do. I mean, we were so dominant in the first half. We should have been, by the time we actually scored, we should have been 3 up. No question about it. And Spurs, I tire very quickly if people go, yeah, but Spurs were terrible. Like, oh, Everton were terrible. And Man United were look, not everybody we play is terrible. And you can only beat what's in front of you. And Spurs, I thought, would be burning after what I thought was a pretty unjustified defeat to Arsenal last weekend. You know, they had a perfectly good goal disallowed, I thought. And that rattled them. And they didn't play to be 3-0 down. And they came back to 3-2. But so I thought they'd be burning last night. But they seemed to be quite shocked by the fact that, I mean, that was a bare bones team last night. That was us right back to the skeleton of players that we could have fielded. When you looked at the bench, and when it all came through, and I was in the pub, I mean, it was embryonic. They were barely, you know, did they have to have letters from their mum and dad to go and sit on the bench last night? Because that was so young. I mean,
who is Sturge, Tony, the one player I've never heard of in that setup. Yeah. Sturge.
But we were sitting there going, blimey, if we're relying on bringing on bench players to turn the game, we could be in trouble here. Luckily, we didn't really need to. And
well, Action Pong came on and looked very good. Actually,
brilliant. He
did some really good blocks. Looked really good.
Well, the first thing he did was get a foul. Play down where I sit. Yeah, the ball came in from a throw in, and he got a foul, and he got the decision. And my mate Mark next to me just said to me, he's gone down in Chelsea history for that already. He looked very calm, very collected. Torreanian didn't have a lot of time, but he did come on, and he did, you know, sort of come on very calmly, very coolly. Cassidy, who is very tall, blimey, he came on, and they were.
Do you know what? That's the first time. That's the first time Cassidy's come on.
Yeah,
and we haven't conceded a goal. I was waiting for the the when he came on, but it didn't happen.
He acquitted himself well as well, and I mean they were substitutions made out of at least one was out of necessity, I think, because Alfie Gilchrist was cramping up, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But the others were more, I think, about preservation for Sunday's game. Listen, Spurs had the majority of possession, certainly in the second half. Okay, they came out in the second half, out of the blocks, and pinned us back. And it started to look at one point like, oh my God, here we go again. Penned back in our own half. Binoculars for everybody in the Matthew Harding end needed. We looked tentative. We looked like there was an inevitable goal coming. But we rode that out for that first quarter hour. We rode it out. There was a little bit of luck, maybe, but we rode it out. And after that, we got back into the game. We looked like much more settled or whatever. That second goal killed Spurs. They were so deflated after that because they were probably scratching their heads thinking, how's this happened again? But we were right on it. And we arguably, I mean, Cole Palmer had an absolute belter of a chance in the second half right in front of me that he spooned over the bar. He looked
I thought it might have hit you, actually, Tony.
Well, yeah, he actually looked like he was the one player that I would have said looked like he was recovering from illness. He looked
subdued, didn't he, Tony? Very subdued. And also, he went down the tunnel immediately without applauding anybody, which I felt was a bit peculiar.
Maybe he was knackered and didn't feel well.
Yeah, I think that sort of showed. He was sluggish in comparison to what we know, but he was still a big contributor. I mean, that free kick crashed against the bar.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Tony, he's such a class act that even subdued, the little passes, the weighted passes that he gives down the wing are immaculate.
He is looking more.
He is a fantastic player in any shape or form, even subdued. As you say, can alter the game in a moment. That free kick was fantastic. Fantastic.
I like the fact
huge kudos to Jackson for heading the bloody thing in. My goodness me.
I mean, I described that was almost swan-like. There was a touch of the. It was almost like a tribute night to Didier Drogba's heading capabilities last night. Trevor Chalobah's header was a bullet, right? It was perfectly placed. I can't remember the Spurs goalkeeper's name now. Is it Vicario? Is it or something?
Yeah.
But he didn't stand a cat in it. No, two goalkeepers won't get into that. And then the second goal. I mean, honestly, Jackson. Well, you know where I sit, Chidge, right?
I do.
You know,
I wave to you every time I'm there.
And it looked to me and the people around us like Jackson's header had looped over the bar. Instead, what it did was it defied the laws of physics and somehow looped under the bar and gone in. So by the time I thought, oh shit, we've missed another chance, and everyone was trying, everyone had gone mental, like, you know, because it had gone in. And it was just a lovely, lovely moment. And look, Jackson isn't a striker. I'm not sure what he is, and I've alluded to that in the article.
He's what we used to call in the old days, Tony, a forward.
Yes, but he busted a gut last night.
An inside left.
And I've always said you cannot fault players for effort, and he absolutely does put a shift in, and he did last night. They all did, but Jackson was. I mean, he was unlucky not to get the first goal, and the ball deflected back out to Palmer and basically hit him on the foot and then went over the bar down at the shed end. But it was an all-round excellent display against the odds, massively against the odds. I absolutely believe we must have been firm underdogs last night when you looked at the team.
Well, that was Tony. That was the only fit 11 senior players he could put out. I mean, two things struck me actually. If I can increase the size of this ridiculous script, the bench: Achiampong, Bettinelli, Cassidy, Castledine, David Washington, Dyer. Kieran Dyer's still on the list, amazingly. JK, Sturge, Turinen, and Tyreek. They are all, apart from Bettinelli and Cassidy, who he bought, I suppose Washington too, but they're all, I mean, I don't think any of them had a Premier League debut. No. I mean, that's got to be some sort of a mental record. But this is the missing players, right? Chilwell, Chukwuemeka, Colwell, Dizazi, Fernandes, Fofana, Gusto, James, Lavia, Nkunku, Sanchez, Silva, Ukachegwu, Chilwell, and Sterling. I mean, how many is that? I mean, I've not double count.
14, isn't it? 14.
Yeah,
14.
I mean, nobody says this. Nobody seems to understand how. I mean, I've seen injury crises at clubs when we've had 3 players out. What on earth is this? This is insane. He could only pick 11 players,
and yet the 11 players who have been picked as a consequence of this, almost by chance, have gelled into something,
haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if there was something else that happened last night. I don't know if you guys were aware of this or whether I just got the wrong end of the stick. But they looked to me like they were playing I'm delighted to say it 4-4-2.
Yes,
but Chidge, on occasions it was 3-2-5-1.
Okay, they were being fluid then when in and out of possession.
Yeah, because Cucurella plays a fullback, but also then plays a number 6 as well. And Cucurella, I absolutely take my hat off to him. What a transformation! What a transformation has been.
I've got to say this: Cucurella and Mudryk teamed up brilliantly at times. Right, they seemed to know where each other was. They were playing lovely little balls back to each other. Cucurella, I would have driven him back to Brighton last season. You all know that.
You know that, yeah.
And now, I've had an argument with somebody on X. Twitter today.
You having an argument with somebody on X?
Honestly,
who'd have thought it?
When these people give it out, but Poch hasn't improved any players. Number one, half them players weren't with us last season. He's only had them from the beginning, so you don't know what they were like. But the one player that I can categorically say that Poch has improved, I don't know what he was like at Brighton. He may have been.
Yeah, he was good. He got their Player of the Year, mate.
Player of the Year. Player of the Year, Tony.
But he has massively improved under Pochettino in his time at Chelsea, which was a conundrum that Tommy Tuchel, Graham Potter and Frank Lampard could not fix. But Poch seems to have got him playing. He's chippy, he's combative, he's absolutely covers acres of ground, almost like bloody Conor Gallagher. And I'm really, really pleased because it just shows what a stupid gobshite I am when it comes to criticising players. And I'm quite happy to have Cucurella shoving my words back down my throat.
Well,
No, you're not a gobshite. You're not a gob, Tony, because
No.
he didn't play well at all.
No.
He was awful.
We
Yeah,
call
it
it
was
as we boys. We call it as we see it. However,
Absolutely.
I think what I would say, and I mean, people might not understand this. I mean, we're a bit passionate. We say rude things about people quite a lot. I mean, you should hear what we say about each other. But there is nothing that delights me more, JK.
Wanker. Sorry.
Fuck off,
Yeah.
wanker. I nearly said the Gareth. Then you nearly drew me in. You very nearly drew me in. Listen, there is nothing that gives all of us more pleasure than to be proven completely wrong, as Tony was saying, and utterly stupid. That when players that we've coated off and said we should sell them, they're no good, get them out of the club, if they start playing well. Because as JK, bless his heart, always says, all he wants is for Chelsea to be brilliant and for the players to play really, really well. And all I ever say is that they give 100% and they put a shift in. So, there's nothing that delights us more to be proven wrong, is there, JK?
Indeed. Well, no, but I think at the same time, if you've seen I think with Cucurella in particular, when we played them down at not the Goldstone ground, they don't play there anymore. the
Withdean?
The Withdean, they played there as well, didn't they? Yes, yeah. When they played
the Royal Pavilion?
That didn't have one end, did it? The Withdean. It was only had three sides, and there was nothing at the other end. It wasn't even a car park. I think it was just some trees there. But yeah, the Amex. We went down there, and he was fantastic, and he was their player of the season, Cucurella. Yeah. At 60 million was excessive when Tuchel got him to play in the side, because apparently that was Tuchel's purchase. But based on that performance, based on those performances, you can see it. So when we start seeing him play out of his skin and dominating players and making them and getting into advanced positions in an aggressive, very combative way, competitive way, and doing really well and putting other players in, as you say, Tony, putting Mudryk in on occasions. I have to say that Mudryk's ability to play, when he gets to play those little passes in front for Jackson, is fantastic. But there's so many other aspects of Mudryk that don't quite work for me. So the fact that Cucurella then comes and plays dreadfully, well, we're allowed to say, I'm sorry he's playing dreadfully, because there was that period when he played against Villa under Tuchel, and they just bypassed him every single time. So there was something going on that we weren't aware about in that period. And it's only now that he's becoming the player that he was at Brighton, and he's fitting in. Whether it's because his role is different, I don't know. That's down to the training setup. All I know is that he's playing in various areas. He's not playing wing back, but he finds himself very advanced in the penalty area, very advanced playing with the forwards. And then he comes back and plays left back, and his speed and energy is, as you say, is comparable to Connor. And Connor was once again absolutely everywhere last night.
As was Moyes again. He put in a similar, he put in a similar performance to the one he did in the second half of Villa. I liked it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing that we didn't say? What I loved about the game was that Spurs fans were so confident that they were going to roll us over. That at the very beginning, everything was cheered. Everything, every tackle was coming, when they play, go marching in, all of this happening. And I just thought they are so arrogant and confident. And within a few moments, they just toned down a bit. And then when we scored, they got a bit twitchy, and then the odd little sound came out. And then the second one went in, and they just started leaving. And you just think
there was about 20 left at the final whistle.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah. It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again.
It was lovely to silence that arrogance, because they arrived thinking that it was going to be an absolute doddle for them. Yeah. And it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is why we love Chelsea. It doesn't matter how awful and shambolic we are when it comes to playing. I mean, I think Martin said it, and many others did on X too. You can rely on death, taxes, and beating Spurs. Yes, I mean, it's what we do. Or as Ange likes to say, it's who we are, mate. It's who we are. Well, that's who we are, Ange. That's who we are. Beating your bunch of wankers every fucking season, mate. So stick that up your Aussie gob and chew on it.
We listened to TalkSport on the way home last night, and Cundy was.
I didn't hear it. Was he on fire?
I think I retweeted.
It'll be on listen. It'll be on listen again.
It will honestly. He from the moment he left the ground on the back of the bike to get to the studio, and he did his. He does this thing where he does the takeoff of the
Norwegian commentator, isn't it?
Yeah, but he does.
Your boys have had a hell of a beating.
He did it, and he did it. Jamie O'Hara was, to be fair, took it very well on the chin.
Yeah.
But he kept throwing in all the way home. Cundy kept saying, "Here we are, mate.
So
we are, mate." You know what I mean? So it was very, very funny and great to listen to. So I recommend that to anybody. But, you're right. And JK's right. There was, I was in the pub beforehand. I don't think anybody thought we would win. From the usual pub crew.
I predicted we would win. I predicted we would win.
I actually walked in with Marco. I met him just outside the ground, and we walked in together. And I think we were both thinking, if we get a draw out of this, we'd be okay with that tonight with this team. Because when you looked at that bare bones team, you thought, God, blimey, But to be fair, whether by chance or brilliance, Pochettino found something there last night. He's probably still scratching his head a little bit about Christ Almighty. But you saw in the second half against Villa, which I didn't. I only saw the highlights of the Villa game. But you saw a team that, and I've said it before, and JK I think has agreed with me. They have not downed tools for Pochettino.
No, they haven't.
They are absolutely fighting.
Boys, JK and Tony, both of you, but not at the same time. Is this the best performance of the season?
No, I still think that the destruction of Everton was probably the best.
All right, JK.
Yeah, I think I that was just almost a note perfect game, that one. But last night, that was a different opposition. So yeah, it was a very good performance.
I thought coming back at Tottenham was great because after their first goal, when we played them at
but nine men.
Their gaff. No, I'm about to say that the 9 men makes it, and the fact that Jackson couldn't quite work out at the time how to deal with the press that was so high. They were all standing on the halfway line. But I thought one of the City games, the 4-4 against City, we were very good as well. But I think we can say that bizarrely the run of games, the Villa game, the second half was fantastic. The Crystal Palace game, the second half was fantastic.
Yeah.
We've done it in spurts, whereas I think possibly last night was the most consistent we've been for the whole 90 minutes, I would say.
Yeah. We've done it in spurts, and now we've done it in Spurs.
And done it in Spurs, yeah, probably that's where
I think the interesting thing as well that JK saying there is that, I said for the first quarter now, 20 minutes of the second half, we were under the cosh.
We were. We defended really, really well, though, Tony.
And that, you need a game like that to instill the confidence that you can soak up pressure.
Well, none of us have said this. They kept a clean sheet, for Christ's sake. It's the first time in about 13 games.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it should be. These players, I've said it before, they're young. Pochettino's been dealt an absolute shitter of a hand with injuries this season. I can't think of another team that's had constantly the number of first team or the players that you would imagine in the first team out all season. And in fact, now I'm rather hoping that none of them come back because they can go off and get themselves fixed up or whatever. Because those boys last night deserve all the credit that they're getting today. And it pisses me off when in the media, it's all about how bad Tottenham were. And the goals were all down to the fact that Tottenham are bad at set pieces. Fuck off last night. And I'm just getting a bit fucking tired of the fact that we never get any credit when we actually deserve it.
Well, one of the reasons for that we'll go into in a minute, but I tell you what, I think it was our best performance of the season, and I'll tell you for why. Because we spoke about it at length on Monday, didn't we, JK? This is a game that any Chelsea team, any Chelsea manager dare not lose. You do not lose to Tottenham. If you lose to Tottenham, all hell breaks loose. We are very unhappy. We do not like it. It does not happen. It's happened once at home since 1990. You do not lose to Tottenham. Poch is an ex-Spurs manager. We've had an up and down season, to say the least. They are higher than us in the league. This was a match where the pressure was on. And then you add to that the pressure that's already on Poch from what we've been seeing. I think the way he got them up for that, the way we played, the way we won, that for me is the best performance of the season because of everything else that was going on around it. Because I think, and I said this not on the FanCast on Monday, but I said it on Ricky's show, The Last Word on Spurs. I said, if he wins this, and if we really hammer you, then I think there'll be a sea change in the attitude towards Poch, certainly from the supporters. If we lose it, it'll be curtains because the supporters won't have it, and it'll give the club the excuse they need. And then the interesting thing is, I mean, I had the benefit of watching his post-match interview with Jamie Redknapp and Karen Carney. And
Yeah.
I mean, we know that a lot can be lost in translation with dear old Poch. But they got under his skin, and he was basically saying he doesn't know if he's going to be here, and it would be stupid if it. Well, I mean, can you try? You are our resident Poch translator, JK. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Can you translate for me? Because I know what I mean, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Karen Carney was taken aback because what's his face said, the presenter said, "What do you make of that?" And she went, "Don't know really what to say about that." It was all, wow, he's given away a bit too much, isn't he? Really? But he did. He got all emotional and started talking about how he wasn't. In fact, I've got a one of his quotes. In fact, the press conference is interesting because he denied saying anything.
Like he did the last time he lost his shit.
As he did the last time he lost his shit. He completely backtracked. And he said, if after the decision on my future, if we want to match the history of Chelsea, it's a lot of work to do, and we'll see if we have. This was one of the things he said. We'll see if we have time to build this way.
Yeah.
What he meant by that was he wasn't thinking that he would be given the opportunity to do that. So as we'll discover in the press conference, he says that nobody tells him anything. And he actually said that. I don't know. So obviously there is a
rift between him and Winstanley and Stewart.
Yes,
this we know.
But I think you could complete lack of communication between them.
You could have a rift with Winstanley and Stewart in an empty room. Those two are a cancer at our football club, and the sooner they are gone, the better it will be, in my opinion.
Well, then where does Jewel come into this? He's European, isn't he?
Who knows? I mean, Joe Shields is quite well liked from what I understand, but Winstanley certainly isn't. Stewart, I'm not so sure about, but they could both fuck off because they're bang average as far as I'm concerned, and they are the root cause of all of this mess. This under 25-year-old strategy is down to them. This is not a Bowley or Egbali idea. This is down to them. They're sitting there playing FIFA with an elite football club because they've got the opportunity to.
Why are the roots of this going into all the feeder clubs? That's the wrong expression. The multi.
Well, because that I suspect is come down from the top. The trouble is the people at the top don't understand if they're doing well or not. They don't have the football knowledge and experience. So these two fucking Herberts are getting away with murder. Nobody's questioning them. Everybody should be. And I really feel for Poch because, whatever you think about what's happened this season, as Tony says, he's been dealt a terribly appalling hand. And he's a proper football man. He's a proper football manager. He's got the credentials. He's been there and he's done it. Okay, he's not won any trophies, but who the fuck has at Spurs? Who the fuck has at Spurs? Who the fuck has at Southampton? So, and I don't hold that against him. He's a proper football man.
They won in 1976, Chidge. They won the FA Cup.
I was at the semi-final, I know.
And Stoke scored, and Ozzy was playing for them.
He was, but Pochettino wasn't managing them then. But anyway, the bottom line is, I think this hopefully will ease the pressure on him. I think it would be an absolute, complete, catastrophic mistake to get rid of him. He's clearly got the team playing for him, and he's got the team playing. And I mean, we in our excitement of actually having put in a decent performance or two recently, we've missed out, and we haven't said it on the show. They are playing some good football at times. They're pinging the ball around at times. It's looking good, and they've added a bit of defensive steel to that in the last couple of matches. Well, the last match, certainly.
Nadia Shield played well, didn't he, against Villa?
He did.
And he repeated it. He actually looked the player from when he started last year, and you thought he's a bit classy, which he hasn't been showing when paired with Desazi. But paired with Trevor was outstanding last night. Bloody hellfire. Not only the goal, Really was. You suddenly think, he's leapt up to the, I don't want to use the plate because of the Americanism, but he's leapt up to the standard required.
No, but I disagree with that because I think he's always been at the standard. I mean, do you remember a couple of years ago under
he was
Tuchel?
injured, wasn't he? Yeah.
But a couple of years ago under Tuchel, every time Trevo played, we didn't lose. There was that weird stat, something like 19 games. Every time Trevo played, we didn't lose. Trevo is more than good enough. And in fact, that's a lovely segue because, you mentioned the Connor banner earlier on, which was an absolute brilliant thing to do. I mean, all these idiots on X going, well, why has he got one? He doesn't deserve it. It's not about that. Dimitri on X, absolutely, he nailed this better than even I can, and I should just find it. Because it's not about what these Herberts are saying that it's about. It's not about whether you deserve one or not. It's got nothing to do with that. Dimitri, this is at Chicago Dimitri, who I followed for years, and he often says some really good stuff. He says, thinking they should be, this is the ex-idiots, thinking they should be consulting people who don't help financially or with organising on which players they should honour with their money and effort is the height of entitlement. Brilliantly put, because that's the point. The We Are the Shed boys decide amongst themselves who they want to do a banner for. It's not a democracy. They do the organising, they pay for it, and they decide it. And it's not on merit. It's who they like. It's who they want to show some support to. And they're at the club and they do it. So fine. What is the problem with that?
Yeah, I can't see one. No, absolutely.
I'll take that as a nothing. Anyway, the bigger point, the main point. They cannot sell Connor and they cannot sell Trevo. Look at what they put into the club and on the pitch all season. I mean, I know Trevor's been injured. It would be unbelievable folly to sell these two players. You need people like that in the fucking team.
Yeah.
And if they can't see that, they need a shoeing, mate, at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of other revenue from the academy that they could probably make, but those two players, like you said, Chalobah last night, there was one point where I think he played a slightly hospital pass to somebody and gave the possession to Tottenham, and he got the ball back within 5 seconds. He just went, he like he knew, and he went back and he took the ball off the player. Beautiful tackle, cleared it out again. And again, it comes down to that attitude, that thing we've seen before when we've let players go that have got Chelsea in their blood, and I think that's a mistake. The owners might want a team of Galacticos, but we all know that
Galactico, they're not going to fucking buy any, are they? No, they're going to buy kids who might become a Galactico in 10 years' time if you're bloody lucky. It's bullshit.
And I thought that Chalobah.
Roman used to buy Galacticos. That's what Roman used to do, which is why the kids never came through.
Yeah.
Now they're stunting the kids' opportunity by buying kids from other countries who they think might turn out to be good, so they can sell them. It's absolutely fucking half-baked, and I am, as you can tell, not very happy about it. So I'm going to change the subject to lighten the mood. JK will love this question. I don't know how many times I've asked this and phrased it slightly differently. JK, dare we dream about the Euro Conference League?
Well, I'm not the man to ask, really, am I? Because I'm 1,429th in the Prem predictions. So, but I mean, who knows? I suppose what you do is that terrible cliched thing. You take it game by game, don't you? Because Chelsea of old would have put all these next four teams to the sword. But West Ham have had a week. Haven't played, so they've got a week's rest in comparison with us.
Well, shall I give you a bit of help here? I got the league table up here, which kind of gives us a bit of a clue, doesn't it? If I can just scroll,
we're above
down.
them. We're what are we? Well, we're game in hand and are above.
Here we go. Right, we're above West Ham. We're 2 points above West Ham with a game in hand.
Yeah,
they are. Well, we'll talk about this in part 2, but I have a feeling they might be on the beach. It's really about Newcastle and Man United. We're all on the same games. We're 2 points behind Newcastle and we're 3 points behind Man United. I have not done my research, so I have not got a Scooby who they are playing. Although I could tell you, if you wait for 1 second, I can actually tell you who they are playing.
I'll waffle a bit more. If we play as well as we played with the competitive spirit that we've played the last 2 games, we could win all 4. And it wouldn't surprise me if we won all 4, because it's the kind of thing we would do, having lost 5-0 to Arsenal. You just think, okay, well, if they're gelling and it's all working, and Jackson actually finds an element of his shooting boots. When Jackson is such an enigma, he's actually becoming unbelievably arrogant and confrontational. He keeps wandering up to players and pushing them, he's got there's an element of shithousery about him that I'm beginning to love, I have to say.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's so in people's faces, and the referee gets really annoyed with him as a consequence. And I love the fact that he, for no apparent reason, that moment when he went up and started cleaning his boots on the post and before a penalty, the referee was thinking, what the fuck is this madman doing? But at Villa, he just kept complaining to the referee about Dina being injured, and saying he was time wasting. And then McGinn pushed him away, and then he went back again, and he started pointing his finger at people. He has that approach of just really being irritating.
Oh, that's lovely.
To me, one of the players I used to admire enormously, played for Stoke, was Ricardo Fuller. Who
I remember him. Yeah.
It's a bit like the Ben White thing. He just fucked about all the time.
I'll tell you who else does that. Mope. But he
does it in a way that they're all sounding him out. They're all saying that he's taking the piss too much. He does it in a kind of slightly jokey way. He's a bit impish, whereas Jackson just does it really belligerently. There's a kind of really belligerent look about it. But what Ricardo Fuller used to do was just stand on the foot of the corner, pinch them. It's Dennis Wise aspect, pinch.
I love it.
Listen, behind their thighs and everything. Oh God!
I've got the fixtures right.
I've talked well over that.
You have. Newcastle have got Burnley away tomorrow, which will not be easy because Burnley are playing well and they're trying to avoid relegation. United have got Palace away. I would expect them to win that, or I don't expect them to lose that. Put it that way. So that's a bummer for us. The week after, Newcastle have got Brighton at home. I expect them to win that. United have got Arsenal at home.
Oh, well.
Which is good news for us because I see Arsenal probably winning that. And then the last weekend of the season, Man United have got Brighton away. I'd say that's, you would back them to win that. And Newcastle, where are Newcastle? Newcastle are away at Brentford. Again, I would back them to win that, but then none of them are easy. None of them are pushovers.
Terrible away record, Newcastle, at the moment. Terrible.
Yeah, they have, exactly. So, all we need to do, if we go back to my league table, all we need to do is basically win one game and them to lose. I mean, Newcastle have got a brilliant goal difference. We're +6, they're +19. So that's a lot, but we're only 2 points behind them. So if we win all of our games and they lose one, we're above them. United have got a poor goal difference. They're only +1. So if we win all of our games and they lose one, we'll finish above them. So, stranger things have happened. Who have we got left? Brighton, West Ham, Forest, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, yeah.
You come on. If you can't fucking beat that lot, you don't deserve to be in the doodah. The one that worries me most is Forest, because they're still fighting for something. I mean, they're like 1 point above the relegation zone at the moment, so they've got it all to play for. So, but they might be down by then if results don't go their way.
Freddie Lee back on chat says Newcastle and Man United have to play each other. Is that right?
No, not according to. I've actually the easiest thing to do is to go to Score just because, of course. That's got all the next few fixtures. And no, it is as I said. Newcastle have got Burnley, United have got Palace, both away. That's this weekend. Week 37. Oh, actually, so maybe I've missed one out. Maybe he's right. No, I don't know. Oh no, he's right. Freddie, I take it all back. They squeezed it in right at the bottom, and I didn't see it. Well, mate, that makes it even better. because they got, somebody there is going to drop points. One of them's going to drop points. Sorry, Freddie, I missed that. It was at the bottom of my predictions league thing, so I missed it. Well done. Yes, that makes a lot of sense because I had only said 3 games, hadn't I? Well, there you go. I mean, we've got a fucking good chance then, haven't we? Simple as. Marvellous.
I mean, we've left it late, but I think that's
we're Chelsea, Tony. We're Tony Chelsea. No, we're Chelsea.
Mate,
yes.
Mate, we get 12 points.
Mate, it's who we are, mate.
It's who we are, mate. Yes.
Hey, it's who we are, mate.
It is what it is. That's what
all right. Talking of, well, I mean, here's the thing, right? If we do scrape into, I mean, I know a lot of people like turn their nose up at the Conference League, but I personally love the idea of being in it so that we can win it, and then we genuinely can say again, we've won it all.
Yeah.
What's not to love about that? So I'm all in favour of that. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. Right now, talking of who we are, mate. This I think defines who we are, mate. Better than anything I know. It is the wonderful, wonderful CFC UK fanzine. And this is the last issue of the season. It's the one with the beautiful, marvellous Thiago Silva on the front cover. And as Dave said on the front cover, Thiago Silva up there with Chelsea's greatest. He certainly is. Now, you can either pick that up at the remaining home and away games, or, if you're at home, then it's the CFC UK stall, obviously. Or you can subscribe. Much better idea. Well, not a much better idea to subscribe because you'll miss out on all the chat that you can have at the stall. But if you can't get to home games, then you can subscribe and get a hard copy in the post by emailing fanzine@cfcuk.net and paying the same email address via PayPal. £20 in the UK, 45 quid in Europe, 60 quid in the rest of the world, and 6 quid or £1 each if you want a digital version, which will be emailed to you as a PDF. So go and do it. If you pay now, you'll get next season in for good and early. So you'll get your first copy. All the best people write for it and me. So you've got Clayton, Dean, Kelvin, Marco, Waltz, Tim Rolls, Mark Meehan, of course, Smithy. It's just brilliant. All of our mates write for it. It's a lovely crowd of people. Daniel Childs writes for it. A lot of other lovely people too. Now, the only other thing that we should remind you of at this stage of proceedings, of course, is that you should go out and buy a CPO share, a Chelsea Pitch Owners share. If you want to technically own a bit of Stamford Bridge, because that's what it means. You have a share in the freehold of the stadium. It also means, of course, at a time of uncertainty, you don't quite know what's going to happen. If people, we might redevelop the ground, we might relocate, who knows? But whatever happens, you will get a say. You get a vote, okay? Because they need more than 75% of the vote to change what happens, because basically they own the pitch. 110 quid for an electronic share, 173 quid for a frame share signed by a Chelsea player. Although I do believe they're putting the prices up soon. So what you should do is get one now, because the prices are going up. I can't remember when they're going up, but check their Twitter feed at Pitch Owners and you can find out. I did see a tweet, so make sure you do it early. Otherwise, you'll have to pay more. But there you go. But it's a very worthwhile investment for many, many reasons. I commend it to you. Right. After this very short break, we will be back to talk about Chelsea versus West Ham. Oh, yes.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Up the Chelsea!
Footballfancast.com. Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Proper Chelsea!
Footballfancast.com. Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to Chidge and the boys on the Chelsea Football Fancast. Total nutters and proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
welcome back to the Chelsea Fancast. I am Stamford Chidge and I'm joined by Tony Glover.
Good evening, bonsoir.
Now, I've waited long enough. I had to play 3 stings. The silly old fucker's still not back, so tough shit. We're carrying on with the show, which means he's going to miss his favourite part of it, which, of course, Tony, as we all know, is this. It's Chidge's team selection. Chelsea versus West Ham.
My, where have I seen that team play before?
I can't think. Does it ring any bells?
Blimey, it's a day old and it's as fresh in my memory
I know.
as the minute I got the news at the pub that was the team and went, well, fucking hell, that was a hard guess, wasn't it, really, when you look at what we got left? Yeah.
That is providing they're all fit, and I got no clue about this from the press, so JK will enlighten us on that in a minute.
Well, yes.
But as far as I'm aware, providing they're all fit, that's all he really can pick, isn't it?
It is.
If nothing's changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there was an outside chance, he said earlier this week, that Nkunku might come back, but I wouldn't risk it. I might put him on the bench, but there's no need to start him, not when that team,
I should tell the listeners, actually. I should tell the listener who is actually in my team, really, shouldn't I? Petrovic, it's the same as it was the other night. So it's Petrovic, Cucurella, Badiashile, Chalobah, Gilchrist, Gallagher, Caicedo, Mudryk, Madueke, Jackson, Palmer. And I mean, they did a good job against Spurs. So, and I think that really is, JK, the only team he can pick, isn't it? Or is it?
If they're all fit, I mean, he went on in the presser. We're going to get there about the fact that he thought it was important that we only had 2 days before the game, whereas West Ham had the whole week to recover from their previous Premier League game. But nothing was. I'll get onto this. Nothing was mentioned in the press conference at all about. No questions were asked about anybody being unfit. So the questions were asked about whether other people were available to go on the bench. So I think he was very keen to play. He'll be very keen to play this team with perhaps a couple of expensive purchases coming back to play.
Yeah.
As we'll discover, Colwill and Nkunku will probably be on the bench because they've been training okay. So a couple of the kids will disappear. But I think it'll and Sturge, who I'm intrigued about. I'd like to find out about him never having heard, because the others we've heard of before, and Patron we've heard of before, and the Finnish guy as well, Tiliananen, I think his name is, isn't it? I couldn't pronounce it last night. Yeah, and he actually he mentions the fact in the presser that he'd rather play some kids who are going to give 100%, other than players who come in who can't give 100%, can only give 50 because they've been injured. And I sort of get that, really. And in fact, he'll when I talk in the presser, there's a very interesting point that he makes, which actually is his excuse. I find he's now giving excuses. His excuse for the lack of success in the season is, he mentions in the presser.
You're going to do that now. Do the presser now.
Well, I can't. I will, just while I'm also finishing the selection. He would be foolish not to pick the same team after such an excellent performance, just from a morale point of view.
Yes,
and also there isn't anybody else to come in who's absolutely fit enough to play 90 minutes. And one of the things that he goes on about, which I'll tell the crux of the nub of the whole press conference, is he thinks that they haven't had an opportunity. Oh, Zach Surge, left back, signed from Brighton signed from Brighton. Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Poch thinks that the reason they haven't been able to compete is due to the injuries, because he says the number of players who came in who only gave 50%, and the only reason they gave 50% was because they hadn't had enough steam. They hadn't played in the first team. They weren't up to scratch to compete in the Premier League. And he felt that with that problem, the team was only now beginning to find an opportunity to express itself. And I sort of get what he's talking about. It sounds slightly like an excuse, though, because I think He is, but it's true. But at the same time, I think he's now, as we saw when he lost it with speaking to Redknapp and Karen Carney, he which of course he then in the press conference attempts to deny that he ever said it, which once again is
It's idiocy.
It's his, and also there's one dreadful occasion when he actually says, I don't think I'm speaking very well. My English has got worse and worse. And it has, because there are moments where it's just complete incomprehensible waffle. And I don't know what he's talking about. And then he'll suddenly give you a little spin of what he's talking about. But a lot of it is he doesn't finish his sentences. His English isn't good enough. He doesn't find a word that works. Anyway, I'll start. This rather annoying journalist. No congratulations from any of the journos in the press conference about beating Tottenham. No statement about how well we played. How do you feel about that? Are you happy? Straight in with, you had a kindergarten on the bench, didn't you? What about, and it's in fact, it's not. Yes, will Nkunku and Colwell be available? And this momentum, you can't lose it now, can you? And his response is, the players really know that they need to make an effort. We must learn it's not about quality. What is important is to give your best. And this is the bit here. He says, if a player who is better only gives 50%, I think it's better to play someone younger with less quality who will give 100%. This has happened all season. We never get the whole team out at their best due to injuries and lack of playing time, which is something that I should have put my little thing up, shouldn't I? I should have put my my little press conference thing at the back.
Oh yeah, but too late now. Don't worry about it.
It's much too late now, Chidge. I absolutely agree with you. I've stopped me talking about it here. However, there it is. I couldn't help myself. And I think that's really interesting that this, I'll say it again. If a player who is better only gives 50%, I think it's better to play someone younger with less quality who will give 100%. Now, and he puts this happened in the season, but I'm struggling to find when that's happened. Is he saying he's making selection choices that are nothing to do with status? Because I think on occasions he's played players like Fernandes. I think he's played Fernandes when he's clearly been only giving 50%, and earlier on Caicedo, and yet they automatically played. So I don't think he's really been true to himself with this. But anyway,
I would just interject on that.
Do interject, please do. Yeah,
he had a very similar attitude when he was at Spurs, wasn't he? And he got into trouble a few times because he picked young players over some of the more established players that were in the squad then. And I think that was when he famously said, I'm not going to buy a player that's going to block the path of a younger player that is, I think, good enough to make it, which is an admirable attitude, I think. So I think you're right. I think there is definitely, and someone on the comments has actually said, Pop seemed to suggest that he was pressured to play out of form names at the expense of more deserving players, which, show me a manager that's any different, though, anywhere, at any club. Mourinho was given gifts of Shevchenko, wasn't he? And players like that he didn't really want, So I think that it goes for almost every coach or manager in the league, that they're going to get pressure from agents or putting pressure on owners and this sort of stuff. But
do you think he's then had pressure put on him by the sporting directors?
Yeah.
Yes. Play certain players.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that they've personally bought, no doubt.
Yeah. And I get the impression he's not the sort of bloke that takes that very well. You see him starting to get a bit touchy with the stupidity of some of the questions that the press throw at him. Yeah. Yes. And to be fair, you saw it a bit with Postecoglou as well. He just you can hear him almost saying, "Oh, fuck off," like that.
So we are, mate.
Yeah, it's who we are, mate. Yeah, but I do think Pochettino, they worked hard to get him, right, and therefore they treat him in that sort of almost contemptuous manner by saying, "We will tell you what players to play," at their own risk, because they will get the same no matter who they get in there.
They'll get it worse. I mean, if they're thinking about Conte, they must be insane.
Yes, because
Wiggy will tear his wig off at it, mate.
Yeah. I think I just think that from Pochettino's point of view, I think he does throw the language issue in there from time to time, and if he does, and if he's doing it to baffle the press, brilliant. Fucking brilliant. I hope he does that. He may understand and think, look, the lesser of two evils is the fans think, what's he going on about? But if the press are sitting there thinking, I don't know, and then they put words into his mouth, and he can come back and go, that's not what I said. Yeah, that's. I get the feeling. I get the feeling he's a very clever man, and he's playing the cast a little bit here, I think.
Or his English isn't very good, and he loses concentration.
Maybe. I mean, so
I think the thing that happened at Spurs, why it worked for him as Spurs putting the younger players in, was he had depth of experience as well, so that they would be bolstered. They would be bolstered by the older players, which of course the trouble is now, the older players are Sterling, who's been an absolute waste of space all season, and Silva, who unfortunately is not going to be playing next year and is now injured. So, but people stepping up, I suppose, it's saying that Chalobah's definitely stepped up in this more recently, because that was fantastic performance, and Connor, who's played out of his skin. So, I hate to say, when Stanley has thought about Conte, oh God, they haven't really, have they? I can't believe it. Anyway, I'll carry on.
I didn't mean to put that up. I meant to put this up, but this thing, they post so many bloody things that I hit the wrong one, but that was useful as well.
Yeah,
it's Ben Temchin.
Yeah, completely agree. I agree.
We didn't mention that, and we should have done.
No, we should have mentioned it. Absolutely,
Noni was fantastic, and particularly in defence.
Yeah,
he took responsibility.
Also, I have to say, even Mudryk did a couple of saving headers as well. Actually,
but Noni, do you know what? I mean,
the Spurs left side.
But for me, it was a toss-up between Cucurella, Moises, and Noni for man of the match. I thought they were all excellent, but Noni particularly, because he's. I mean, as I said to somebody, I don't know who it was, but during the match, I said, well, there we go. There's my shit Ronaldinho for you.
Yeah,
I thought had an excellent.
Did you see at the end of the game though the warmth between Noni and Poch on the pitch?
Yes, I did, and I think another reason why we need to keep this guy. Exactly. He's building relationships with these players. He's getting their trust. He's getting more out of them. Somebody on here said that he tore into them after the Arsenal game. Quite rightly too, but
yes.
that's how you manage. But you can do that without losing the trust and the respect of the players. And people like Wiggy, who would just be a bitch to them, they'll just say, well, fuck you, I ain't playing for you, which is exactly what happened. Same with Mourinho, exactly what happened. You have to navigate a very difficult path. It's like having children,
Of course it is. Yes.
So you basically, it's carrot and stick. You give them a hard time when they deserve it, so they respect you, and you give them love when they need it, so they love you. And that's exactly what he's doing. They'd be foolish to get rid of him, because they're not going to get anybody better, and we'll just go backwards before we go forwards again. Anyway, JK, do carry on.
What did you say earlier? You said it was interesting how it was a test for him to beat Spurs, and
yes,
and if he hadn't done, people have been asking for his head. But weirdly enough, I think the fact that he has, people still aren't satisfied.
Well, because they're stupid and they just hate him.
No, but I think because it's something that has to happen. You have to beat Spurs. So he hasn't still got out of jail through beating Spurs. It isn't. They're not going to say, yes, he's done that. He understands.
Yeah, but I would venture that these people would want him out, period. And I think this is part of the cycle that we've been in. I see incredibly intelligent people who I love and respect, who I know, who I've met, at Chelsea and all the rest of it, absolutely adamant they want Poch out. But I think this is kind of Pavlovian behavior. We're shit, we have to sack the manager, and then we won't be shit anymore.
Yeah.
This is a new world. This is a new world because the club's shit too.
Yeah,
when you used to sack the manager before, it was only the manager was shit. Everything else was good. Now everything else is shit. You sack the manager, it's still going to be shit. All right? Capiche?
Yeah. Anyway, he's clearly worried that he's not going to be there next season. This is what came to me entirely through the whole of the press conference. He was asked, realistic goal to get into Europe. Players must realise no more slips or inconsistency if you're to get into Europe. But then he sort of didn't get it, because he said it's not the player's fault. He said, due to different circumstances, once again, this circumstance he kept talking about, they can't express themselves on the pitch. We showed against Tottenham that playing this way, competing, we can achieve what we want. And this is now the big moment of misunderstanding between this guy, Alex, and the BBC. I think what was the gist of that last paragraph, he feels that competing is something they haven't been able to do because of injuries and because of players coming in and balancing the side by not being 100% fit. So he obviously feels that this lot are 100% fit, who he's arrived at now. So you just hope there aren't any more injuries. And also the fact that anybody else coming in isn't going to be at their level. So even if anybody's on the bench like Nkunku and Colwill, they're not going to get in because they haven't been playing at all, and they're not at the same level as him, as the other players. Anyway, this bloke from SBBC said, you said enough is enough, and scrutiny is affecting those who make decisions. Is speculation about your future affecting you? And do you want to know about it? And his reaction to that, which was a pretty leading question, but it's what he said last night, Chidge. He talked about that last night. That's why they're a bit flabbergasted, Redknapp and Carney. He said, sorry, I say, who is affecting who? Which people? We need to put in context. And clear they asked me some question, but I never say that. And the BBC guy was tenacious. You said it was affecting your decision-making. He said, if I say that, I don't remember. My English is coming worse and worse. And I wanted to say, it's becoming, not coming worse and worse, becoming, Yanana.
JK.
I'd like to check there again, because when I saw that bit, do you know what it smacked me of? It smacked me of these fucking wankers you get on the television who play on the fact that English is not the interviewee's first language, and use smarmy sentences like that to fucking trip them up, so that they can then manufacture a fucking headline based on what you can only call a paraphrasing of what that person said. They never play kind of authors or speakers advocate and say, I know what you mean. Yeah. They never do that kind of little bit of awkward fucking translation, because what they're after is, he said this. Even if it's... Well,
this is what this guy threw at him. This is what this guy threw at him. I know, and he said, I don't remember the context, and he said, I don't want to lie, but I don't believe I say that. I think I'm under, he said, scrutiny and judgment. I think that was the question. It's to prove...
He was right. That's what he said. That's what they said, in fact.
Yeah, it's to prove, after all, this circumstance, this, once again, I didn't understand some of this, and all this situation, we deserve to be... Oh, yeah, no, it was a good statement. It's to prove, after all this circumstance, not sure about that, and all this situation, but the final sentence, we deserve to be here next season. He means the coaching staff and him. I say, who is going to judge me? I wanted to say it's enough with this type of circumstances and rumours. So what he's also saying is he's got fed up with the fact that his job is being considered on social media and in the papers as being on the line. He doesn't enjoy it. And he says, I have 1 year left. No one say nothing. Suppose that I'm going to be here only if we finish season and someone say to me, ciao, because we don't know at the moment. I have 1 year more contract and I'm going to be here, but enough is about stupid rumors. You know.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. And
fuck
but then he said you need to ask the club if the club want me to keep going or not, to write things that have no sense. I don't know what that meant. I think he meant your writing. So basically, he doesn't know. He hasn't been told, and And that was, he's trying to draw a line under that. And it's the same bloke then asked him, the last few months, the atmosphere has been very different. And he said, it's difficult for me to appreciate that. I don't know how that's the case, because of course you should be able to appreciate that. He said, today was fantastic. And this bloke pushed this. Will opposing teams be scared to come here? Now, this journo, I don't understand why he's interested in opposing teams scared to come to the bridge. Seems a bizarre thing to ask. I don't know for what his angle was. But Poch tried to answer it. You need to ask the opponent. Last season, the team was suffering. Now we are playing fantastic. He didn't really answer the question. Another last question, a different journo. Last 4 games, West Ham, Forest, Bournemouth, Brighton. Some fans might think that's lots of points. And he said they're most dangerous games. Now it is about to keep the same mentality. West Ham have had a fantastic season. He does his bit where he always blows smoke up the opposition's arse. Europe, physicality. For us, we need to recover. Once again, making this point about that we don't have many options to add fresh people. They have whole week to prepare the game. That is the most dangerous. These are the most dangerous games coming up. So there's a kind of realization for him that somehow if you play a top team, if you get a result against them, it's great. But it's more difficult to play the teams you're not supposed to get a result against in this kind of environment where the pressure is on. I think particularly with the fact that he feels that he hasn't got a side that is full side, the full strength side he would like, and yet they're playing well. So so it was a kind of mishmash of stuff that I felt that.
Well, there's two points I'll pick up on there. Number one is what manager ever says, "Yes, I'll be here next season"? What manager ever says that?
No,
Ferguson might have done, but everyone else will say, "Well, I don't know. You have to go and ask."
Well, I'll tell you about Ferguson, right? Because in my CFC UK piece this month, I've done a bit of a tribute to Henry Winter, because he's a great fan of the fanzine. And I remember I interviewed him once for a program about Man United. He said, I'll tell you, I've got a great story about a presser that Fergie did. He said, if you remember when they were in Europe in '94, and they had that rule that you could only play a certain number of foreign nationals. I think it was limited to 2.
Yes.
And he had a really difficult choice to make, because it was between Schmeichel, Cantona, and I can't remember who else. And it was really hard for him. And he kind of was asked continually by the journos that were there, including Henry, who he would pick. And as Henry tells it, he just turned around at the end of the presser and said, "Never second guess the mind of a madman."
Yeah.
And as he walked off, munching on Jaffa cakes. I mean, that's exactly how Henry told it. So,
and I think that's the thing. I mean, I think you will almost 99% of the coaches or managers, whatever you want to call them, who get asked, "Are you here next season?" will say, "You need to go and ask the owners, the people that pay the wages," right? Because we've all seen good managers go. Fucking Carlo Ancelotti was sacked on the fucking stairs.
I mean, the best answer is I'm absolutely expecting to be here this season until I'm not.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that's what he's almost saying now. I've got another year of contract run. No one's told me anything.
Exactly
so
right.
And I think the other thing there is as well, I would rather have a manager who exercises caution about the last 4 games to stop anybody getting stupid ideas that you're just going to romp through 4 games and win 12 points. Because you're Chelsea. That's an arrogance there that is unwarranted, and I never like it. I'm kind of superstitious, even though I'm a man of science and logic. I don't like it when we sing "Who Are Ya" to a player that comes on, because I was there when we sung "Who Are Ya" to Nankwo Kanu when we were 2-0 up against fucking Arsenal, right? And then quarter of an hour later, I'm thinking,
he showed you who he was.
He fucking showed us who he was.
Tony, did he turn around to you and say, "So I am, mate"?
Yeah, it's who I am, mate. That's what he should have done. Yeah. So I love listening to the way JK says it, because he's right. You could view a journalist as tenacious, or you could think he's being a bit mealy-mouthed and trying to trip someone up on the basis that their English is not their first language. And you see it with players, as well. I know.
They're bastards, aren't they?
I just want to go just a little bit off script here, right? But I went down for a pint at half time last night, Chidge, where I normally go, right?
Yeah.
And the atmosphere was quite buoyant, as you imagine. We were 1-0 up against Spurs. There was a group of fans who started singing, and you're thinking, "Oh, look, I'm just trying to have a chat here," but fine, they're singing. But they started these songs about the hissing noises to Spurs, and then they started on a chorus about no surrender to the IRA, and it fucking gobsmacked me.
Were they young or old?
I would say pretty young, to be fair.
That's more worrying.
More on the younger side, and it just made me wonder,
worrying, isn't it?
what sort of fuckwittery is going on that these people are singing. Look, I don't like Spurs. None of us like Spurs. Yeah. There's a fucking line here, right?
Well, there's
most of them. If you said to, "What do you mean no serenity IRA?" Do you have any idea who the IRA are? They probably wouldn't fucking know.
No, I know.
And I just think, I just needed to say that because I've really fired off.
It's interesting. What is interesting is that they sung it in the concourse, not in the ground.
Yeah.
And as lovely, gorgeous George would say, we all know why.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move things along.
Yes, sorry,
no, I know. I read it in your observations, mate. So yeah, I knew about that. Well, obviously I wasn't there, but I knew about it from you. Anyway, JK, I ask you because you've just had a big mouthful of banana and it seemed appropriate. We kind of alluded to it. You've alluded to it in your summary of the presser. JK watches the press conferences, so we don't have to. It's all about this again. We said this on Monday. We were worried shitless that we would. I asked the same question. Can we keep up the momentum? Can we basically play with that level of energy, effort, fight, passion, and skill? I mean, as I said, I think there are moments where they're beginning to put together really good sequences of football. Can we do it? Can we do it against West Ham?
You would think that they will maintain the momentum.
Okay.
Because they maintained it against Spurs, and you wonder whether that was because they were up for it because it was Spurs.
Can you just slightly move to your right, or
otherwise I'm behind there, am I?
You're hiding behind the logo, and I know the logo is much prettier than you, but it's a bit distracting. I could just remove you if you prefer. There we go. Left, right. That'll do. What's gone on with your green screen? Oh, that's all right. There you go. Why you? Yeah, just
I've got a flag in my ear.
You have.
What was the question again? Oh yeah, no, I was talking about momentum. Yeah,
you've lost momentum, JK.
Yeah, I've lost momentum. No, but I think it strikes me, if you've played 2 games at a very high competitive state and have done well, I don't see why you should then play against West Ham and not display the same fortitude and approach, because it's now becoming second nature. 2 games where you've played really, really well, and I think we're doing that thing of when they came out, I immediately thought, is this what energy of this side got? Immediately they started playing, and I thought it's good. They've got good energy. They're passing well. They're running well. So, using Connor as a perfect example, he was really up for it. But it makes you realise that is the kind of pace that these teams need to have in the to compete in the Premier League. I was watching Dortmund during the week, who, of course, have Maatsen playing out of his skin. I mean, how are they going to approach that? According to Rich Moneymaker, there he's off, but I'd have him back in a flash. Maatsen playing absolutely fantastically for.
I think he's pretty sure he'll be off. I think he likes it more over there, and why not? I remember he's Dutch, so
yes, absolutely.
He'll be close to home. I can understand why we want to start.
The way the passing that goes on, the fact that they're all there for each other, I mean, it's also it's in bits. You can't keep that level of energy up. So they play like that for 20 minutes, then they slow down a little bit and go back into their shell a bit, defend, and then they're off again. And it's exhilarating, and it's an environment that Jadon Sancho has absolutely come back to his best in. He played absolutely fantastically. But why I say that is it's that momentum. It's keeping that momentum going. And if we've got that level of commitment and that level of excellence and athleticism and it keeps going, I think we'll take West Ham to the cleaners, and I think we can keep it going. I think we'll take all the teams to the cleaners.
Well, as I said, the last game and a half, we have looked like a top 4 side in my inestimable opinion.
Yeah.
I've got some great stats here, right? It's our 6th win from 11 Premier League London derbies this season. We've won 6, drawn 2, lost 3. We'll be seeking our first back-to-back league victories since a 3-game run over the festive period, 2 of which were also against London clubs. And the last 7 games at Stamford Bridge, we've won 6, drawn 1, with a return of 24 goals. Now, the other interesting thing here, when it comes to West Ham, the side scoring first in Chelsea versus West Ham have gone on to lose the match 10 times. West Ham are on a 5-game winless run in all competitions. They've drawn 2, lost 3. They drew 2-2 against Liverpool the other week, which you would say is a good result. But then Liverpool have gone fucking mad, haven't they, the last few weeks? They've fallen off a cliff. The away record in London derbies suggests that it won't be easy for West Ham at all, because they've won 2 and lost 3 in terms of their derbies, with 3 defeats, seeing them concede at least 3 times. Jared Bowen, who's their key player, I think, he's now West Ham's first player in 19 years to score 20 competitive goals in one season.
Terrific player.
He's a terrific player, yeah. I remember when we played Hull in the FA Cup a few years back, and he was a kid, and I said, we should have him. He's good. But, of course, we wouldn't look at a championship player, but he was good. So I did a bit of scouting there, I'd like you to know. Anyway, West Ham have gone 15 Premier League games without a clean sheet, their longest such run since 2008. So it's all pointing our way, boys, if you look at it statistically. Now, here's the thing, all right? This is my thoughts on it. We're above West Ham in the table now. I think a couple of points ahead, if I remember, when we looked at the league table a minute ago. Moyes, it looks like he's almost certainly off. They've had enough of him. Lord knows why. He's had them punching above their weight for the last few years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think that we're a demented fan base, what about West Ham? Who do they think they are? He's had them in, floating around, top 6-ish, top half. They've won a European trophy. He's maintained that level of performance without Declan Rice, their best player. What are they absolutely like? Bunch of absolute pie munchers. Anyway, he's off. They're out of Europe. So I'm wondering if they will be on the beach, Tony, or if they will do what you and I have witnessed far too many times, try and be a thorn in our side.
The second one.
Oh,
I'd like to think they're on the beach. I think what's more likely to be disruptive is this rift between Moyes and Tim Snyder, I think his name is, or something, who's their sort of sporting director, where he's allegedly been banned from in contact with the first team. I saw Moyes' press conference bits today on Sky Sports News, and he was very, very, very cagey in his whole conversation about this guy, right? Very, very cagey about whether he's going to be there next season and all this sort of stuff. Almost in the same way as Pochettino, wouldn't be drawn on that sort of topic particularly, or very commit, or put any sort of commitment there. I think it's a mad mentality that they've got there. They've done it before. They've got rid of good managers before and then gone on the slide because they got somebody who thought they was going to take them to the next level. But they are a ruinous team. They have Paquetá, who, as Elliot in the comments has said, he's out of form. But you can guarantee if he's playing against us, he'll come back into form. They've got that rather excellent player. Kudus is his name, I think. Christ knows how we missed out on him. I really do not know. Bowen has been, he's their key player. He's dangerous. He reminds me a little bit of Trossard when he was at Brighton. He can score from anywhere. He's an absolute lethal player in front of goal. And of course, I think Mikel Antonio is probably in his last season with them or whatever. But if he's there, they're not going to be easy. Kurt Zouma could be could be in their defence as well, you know, and
Of course,
he knows.
Ward Prowse is, you know, he get a free. Don't let him have a free kick. Right?
The last free kick he had against us was Southampton when they couldn't buy a goal. JK,
yeah,
last season, yeah, when they couldn't buy a goal, couldn't buy a win, came to us and we rolled out the charity FC red carpet for them. Ward Prowse scored that cracking free kick and they beat us. Yeah, it's just shambolic. So you know, the level of rivalry with West Ham is probably never going to be what it is with Spurs or QPR or whatever, but they will want to win a London derby. They will want to win it. I can't see them being on the beach, is what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing, JK. We've lost once at home to West Ham in 17 games. So that's once since 2002. Now, the one time we did lose was recently. It was 2019 when I snuck over to the Matthew Harding upper middle to sit next to Tony at half time.
Is it
And
Chicharito scored? Wasn't
yes,
it?
and he came on, and me and Tony said, "He'll score, won't he? He'll score, won't he?" And then 5 minutes later, boom. So, but that's the only defeat we've had against them since 2002 at home. I mean, this is getting to Tottenham-esque proportions. Now, the funny thing is, I remember that game in 2002 because I drank far too much before the game. I wasn't battered absolutely battered, but I had a drink taken, and very unlike me, I was so dying for a piss that I went down to have a wee at half time, I think. Or let me just, yes, yeah, I went off for a piss and I came back and Paolo Di Canio had put them 2-1 up with an absolute worldie. And I mean, you know, I don't care whether it was a worldie or not really, I'm missing it, but he did. And then he scored on the 84th minute, which kind of made up for the year before, I think, when he got sent off. And I literally started the "fuck off Di Canio" chant from the Matthew Harding upper, which I was very impressed with. Or I can't remember, but I took my dad to a. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the year before was 5-1, and I took my dad to that game. It's the only time I ever took him to watch Chelsea. Bless him. I mean, he wasn't a Chelsea fan, but he was a Portsmouth fan. I felt sorry for him, so I thought I'd take him to see some good football. And we beat West Ham 5-1. And when West Ham scored, I'm just trying to remember who it was that scored. But anyway, when West Ham scored, we were in the West Upper. I think maybe. I can't remember why we were there. But anyway, yeah, Jermaine Defoe scored in the 80th minute. Dad got up and applauded. I said, Dad, you don't applaud the opposition, mate, when you're in the Chelsea end. I said, you'll have me shot. He said, I know, but I felt sorry for them because you've battered them. And I thought, you know, it was a good goal. Applaud him. No, mate. Anyway, as his punishment, I made him walk back.
Isn't it, that?
I know. I made him walk back with me all the way from the bridge to Pimlico as a punishment. So it served him right. But there you go. Oh, memories. Anyway, JK, the bottom line is, you know, we've got an incredibly good record against West Ham at home. In the Premier League, we've won 17 out of 27, drawn 5 out of 27, and lost 5 out of 27. So, you know, we should be okay. We should be okay.
It's nailed on 2-2 then, isn't it?
Well, I mean, even the recent statistics back up a Chelsea win. I mean, West Ham concede goals for fun. It's always 3 goals. Blah 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 blah. I'm feeling buoyant. I'm feeling buoyant and buoyed by the. I'm also looking forward to the Moyes versus Moyes debut. Derby even. Fuck that up, didn't I? Should I try that again? I'm looking forward to the Moyes versus Moyes derby. I nearly did it again. Fucking idiot.
So you're
scared
being
Tony's cat.
Yeah, fighting a losing battle with him.
He likes you though, doesn't he? That's the thing. I suppose if you throw him away, he just wants to come back, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
I like the way he likes to show his ass to the cameraman.
Yeah.
He's a Glover, mate.
Yeah, he do. Indeed.
So, Chidge, you're very buoyant when you're floating above your chair, are you? Yeah.
Like in a Buddha, like so. If I'm disappearing.
Yeah,
like rent goes. I love this. It's like it is. I mean, you remember this, JK. This is like 1970s chroma key, isn't it? When it was utterly shit. You know,
yes.
I love it. No, I'm going to go first with the old predictions, mate. I'm going to go balls out there. I'm going to say 3-1. Kaboom! Blimey. So we are, mate.
That's who we are, mate. Yeah, we're going to be using that one for a while, I reckon. Are you looking at me for a prediction?
Yeah, if you want.
2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
All right. JK.
I don't want to say too.
We need a sound bed for this, don't we? Like one of those dramatic boom. You know? I'll get one. I'll get one for next week so that we can because we all sit there going.
Could we get some terrible reverb for whenever we make our pronouncement for what the score will be?
Yeah.
3-1.
3-1.
It's once again it's tricky. It's once again because with this, seeing the way we played the last two games, I think we'll steamroller them actually. So I'm going to say 3-0.
3-0. 2 clean sheets in a row. Fuck me. Yeah. I like that. I mean, come on. There's optimistic and there's downright insane, JK. But I'll have it.
2-1 to them.
No. I'm taking your 3-0. I know that's what you absolutely want. Well, there you go. We shall see. We shall jolly well see. Now, few more things to do. I've got a few very important announcements to make about the game on Sunday, which I'll do before we bugger off. But before then, JK, it's time for They played for both. They played for both. Well, because we didn't do West Ham earlier in the season. We didn't do West Ham. We didn't do Bournemouth, and we didn't do Forest. I don't think so. We've got a few to do, and we might not have done Brighton. I'll check. I can't remember. I rely on Nathan. All right. Now you're going to love this. We could be here a long time. People, strap in. We could be here for another half an hour. I warn you now. There are 45 players. 45 players that have played for both Chelsea and West Ham during their careers. And here's the thing: there's an awful lot of players on here that we know and love that I had no idea played for West Ham. This is quite a difficult one, but off you go.
Zuma.
Yeah.
There's so many this week. He's on page 2.
Frank Lampard.
Hang on. I need to tick off
is
Zuma.
He on page 3. Joe Cole.
Hang on. Lampard. Cole. Yes.
Zuma.
Yeah, I got Zuma.
Peter Braybrook.
Oh, JK. And there's, in addition, Peter Braybrook played for us between 55 and 62.
I've even heard of him at Chelsea.
Well, I know he was a very famous scout/coach at West Ham. I think he found. I don't know if he found Joe Cole, but they got on very well. Anyway, he played for us between 55 and 62, 271 appearances, 57 goals, England international, 58 to 63 caps. There you go.
Carlton Cole.
Carlton Cole.
Yeah.
Any advance on Carlton?
He did say Kurt Zuma, didn't he, Jake?
We did say Kurt Zuma. You can't have him more than 5 times. It's in the rules.
Okay.
Emerson.
Jake. Emerson.
My favourite fullback who just passed back all the time.
Yeah, he's there. You got him. Well done. Another one.
Scott Parker.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Tony.
Blimey. There was what's his name? I don't know. Just put him down as the Israeli player.
Well, yes, indeed. You could have had 2, and therefore
the other one,
Ben Haim, yeah.
Ben Haim and Ben Ayoun.
Yeah, definitely. Well done. There's some very obvious ones that
there's a good one up there. You get Jimmy Greaves, of course, played
exactly.
As well.
JK. Yeah.
Really? Good Lord.
Yeah. After Spurs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What about fucking hell, what's his name? The player that Conte did with Cucurella.
Yeah.
It's Moses.
Yeah. Well done, Tony. God, you're on fire, mate. Fuck.
Played for West Ham and Chelsea.
Yeah. You're doing really well. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's it's about as many as you normally get.
I always seem to think of players that we've brought in from West Ham, but I forget about the players who left.
Okay, there are on here.
Either went straight to West Ham or ended up there eventually. And it's fucking hard.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Didn't,
13. Hang on. 14 that you should have heard of.
Did Joe Kirkup play for
Yes,
them?
JK. He would have been not on the list of the ones I would have. You should know, but I'm impressed with that. Well done.
Thank
I
you.
seem to remember that a certain player who capitalised on a Gerrard slip played for them, didn't he? He didn't do very many games, but Demba Ba.
He is an African.
Yes.
What can he play? He plays football.
Yeah.
Demba Ba, Demba Ba, Demba Ba, Demba Ba. Demba Ba. Got it in one. Well done. Well done, Tony. You're not cheating now, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm just really racking my brains, but I'm trying to go the reverse of players who came from West Ham, but who went to West Ham eventually after us.
I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have got that at all. I forgot completely he played for West Ham.
Because I think when he played for West Ham, I remember thinking, why haven't we gone and got a player like him?
Oh.
Right.
I remember that Abramovich bought Johnson with Cole.
Yes.
Oh. That's annoying because I was going to give you the clue. He nicked a toilet seat from B&Q.
Yes. That would have been a lovely reminder.
Oh, God,
I managed to get it in anyway. But yeah, Glenn Johnson's on there.
Yeah, Glenn Johnson.
There's somebody who scored a fucking great goal in the Highbury shithole.
Wayne Bridge.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, there's a very well-known player who played for all of the London clubs, did brilliantly for us for about 10 matches, and we let him go somewhere else. I can't remember to whom, but
Clive Allen.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Let's go down the list. This guy was a goalkeeper, I think. And he spells his name wrong. I'll give you a clue. It's a bit woody.
It's a bit woody.
Oh, that might be a bit too cryptic even for me.
Fred Oak.
No, it's Craig Forrest, spelt with 2 R's.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so going down the list, he used to be I don't think he did. Oh, he did. Yeah, he was our trainer for a while when you started going.
What, Harry Medhurst?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Right, this guy played for Benfica and is currently a TalkSport pundit.
Scott Minto.
Yes, JK.
Bloody hell, JK.
This guy's middle name was Rabbit.
So did it end with hair?
No. His nickname was Rabbit.
Yes. He played in the 1954-55 side. I keep confusing him with a keyboard player played for Free called Rabbit Bundrick. Rabbit. God. I impersonated him on a very early Chelsea forum. God.
How did you impersonate? You ran like a rabbit?
No, I pretended
You
that
fucked
was my.
fucked like a rabbit?
No, I pretended I was him. I pretended I was him by saying, "Hello, I used to play for Chelsea in the 50s." Was his name? Was it Nicol? Was that his name? Nicol?
No.
Can't remember.
Okay, it'll come back.
I've remembered one, but I only remember this because of something you and I did, Chidge.
Oh.
Right, and I can't remember his first name, but I remember his second name.
Well, you've got me there, so just give me a second name.
His second name was Hilsden. I think it was either Bill or William Hilsden.
Yeah, George Gatling Gun Hilsden.
George Gatling Gun Hilsden. Did he play for them?
He did.
Was that bloke who played for Fulham? And did he play for Blackburn as well? Pearce, was that his name?
Ian Pearce.
Yeah, was that him?
Yeah, he's on the list. 1991 to 92, 4 appearances. George Hilsden, right? 1906 to 12, 164 appearances.
He's the weather vane. He's the weather
I know.
vane.
Just hang on, I'm going to get there. Patience. 108 goals, England international, 1907-09, 8 caps, 14 goals, first player to score 100 goals for Chelsea, and famously still shows which way the wind blows at Stamford Bridge. Because,
Right.
JK...
The reason I remember it is because we were talking about it on the Battlefields tour. It might have been Alex or one of them.
Your cat is fucking with your microphone.
Yeah, I know. Right. Come on,
Woof,
Frankie.
woof, woof.
Off you go. Right. We were talking about it, and I remember because the thing that stuck with me, right, was he was gassed. And I remember thinking, what a fucking awful way to go at the time. Yeah. That's because he died, didn't he, during the war? I'm sure he did.
Well, Nathan hasn't said that, and he normally does. But he did play for us only until 1912. So, yeah, quite possibly.
It came up in conversation. I'm bloody sure it did, because how would I remember? I just remember the name Hillston, and I think it was when we were at one of the sites.
There is somebody on here. There is somebody on here who's, we've seen their grave on the war tour.
Right. But I remember we were talking at the time. I'll tell you why I remember it, Hillston, because we were talking about Walter Tull, who I don't think ever played for us, but he was the first or the only black footballer that went into World War One and got killed. Because we watched a documentary on him. Right?
There's a comment on your cat handling there, mate.
Oh, is there? Right, I've not seen that.
He gave that cat the Zuma touch.
Oh, I didn't kick him. I would never.
Naughty. Right, back to the quiz. There's a few people on here that you should still get. You said, did you get? I'll give it to you. I'm bored of it. Eric Parsons. Eric Rabbit.
Oh
Parsons.
yeah. Oh God.
Right, and your favorite goalkeeper that you always say that is
Neil
not
Sullivan.
Not
Dave,
him.
Dave
not Besant. The other one who I always forget is a goalkeeper. 70s.
70s goalkeeper.
Your memory's like a goldfish. Jerry Payton.
I'm about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, too late.
I'm about to say Petchy.
This one is often called Pop.
Pop Robson.
Very good. Very good. This one I cannot believe played for West Ham, but he was part of one of our most famous dual strike partnerships. He was very fast.
Speedy? Did he play for West Ham?
Apparently so.
Christ.
Okay, you're not gonna get any of the other. Let me just check if there are any down here that you should know.
Ron Greenwood.
He's not on here, but I think that's because
he was their manager. I don't think he played for them.
He didn't play for them. Exactly that.
Otherwise, you could be because.
There's one more.
First, but he didn't play for us, did he, Jeff?
There's one more that you might know. He also played for Burnley.
He was a young lad. I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be better than John Terry.
Yeah,
he's of that ilk, isn't he?
Yeah, that era.
Christ, he's like a. And he had one really good season, and for some reason we let him go.
Paul Hughes.
No, played for Fulham as well. Early noughties.
Yeah, John Harley.
There we go. Well in.
Because I had a bet with a mate of mine that he was going to be one of our superstars.
Right,
brilliant. This is why I don't bet.
I think you did very, very well. I shall run through the others that you wouldn't get, I'm sure, which are Mohamed Berthay, reserve, had 1 month loan, February 1998. Sid Bishop, 1928 to 32, 109 appearances, 6 goals.
Sid. Yeah, Sid.
6 goals, England international, 1927, 4 caps, 1 goal. Barry Bridgman, 1906 to 14, 159 appearances, 23 goals. Willie Brown, I love that, or known as Brown Willie by his friends. 1924 to 28, 57 appearances, 22 goals. England international, 1923, 1 cap. I mean, somebody's taking the piss here. You got Willie Brown, also known as Brown Willie. Then you've got Bobby Bush. I mean, is Nathan making this up? I don't know. Anyway, Robert Bush, not Bobby Bush. 1906, 4 appearances. James, I don't know why I've got, there. James Frost. Don't know. James Frost, 1906 to 07, 23 appearances, 4 goals. Len Goulden. JK might remember him. 1946 to 50, 111 appearances, 19 goals. England international 1937 to 39, 14 caps, 4 goals.
I think he
George-
managed somebody as well. He managed somebody called Len.
Yeah, I know that name.
Yeah.
Continuing the knob gag theme, Tony, we have a George Horn. 1910, 2 appearances.
Did Jack Cock play for them?
No, he in the 20s, but he didn't play for them. William Jackson, 1928 to 31, 26 appearances, 6 goals. That would have been Nico Jackson's great grandfather. Not really. Andy Malcolm, JK.
Yeah. I think he played cricket as well, Andy Malcolm.
Yeah, 61 to 62, 28 appearances, 1 goal.
I saw him.
John Morrison.
Because I remember seeing him in his West Ham shirt. That's why, because I try and remember where they went, because I used to buy Charlie Buchan's Football Monthly, and they'd always you see the players in their new colours. Well, I remember Joe Kirkup, because I remember him in a baggy Hammers shirt with the big badge. Just something comes into your mind. You think, oh yeah, he played there, yeah. But same with Peter Braybrook. I was a fan of Peter Braybrook because he was a really fast winger, really really tricky winger. And I was annoyed when he got sold because I really enjoyed watching him play. He won the European Cup Winners' Cup with the Hammers. Did Braybrook?
You've completely lost where I am now.
Sorry.
William Jack. That's all right. No. I've got it. I've caught up. Right, William Jackson. No, I've done that, haven't I? Who did we just talk about?
Andy Malcolm.
Thank you. That was it. Right, Andy Malcolm. John Morrison, reserve 1909 to 10. John Payne, 1938 to 46, 47 appearances, 22 goals. England international, 1937, 1 cap, 2 goals. Famously scored 10 goals in a match for Luton in 1936. Yes. Still a record in the league. John Sissons.
Oh, wow.
Of course, John Sissons. Bloody hell. He came and he played terribly for about the end of the season. Was it under Jeff Hurst? He was absolutely awful. And he'd been magnificent for West Ham.
He had.
Yes.
Ron Tyndall.
Oh, God. He played for Surrey. He's the Surrey player. Sorry. Ron Tyndall. He's, of course. Bloody hell.
55 to 61, 174 appearances, 69 goals. Right. You should know this one, or maybe not. This is a bit esoteric. Derek Vaughan.
Oh, blimey.
He was a reserve in 68 to 70. David Webb.
No.
Yes. Who knew?
Did he start there?
I've no idea. He might have done. I mean, he was from Essex, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway.
He was. Yeah.
No, this is the one you're talking about, Tony. Bob Whiting, 1906 to 07, 54 caps, 18 clean sheets, killed in action on the 28th of April, 1917, commemorated on the Arras Memorial, which we have seen.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, right. And we'll be seeing again in June.
In June, yes, indeed. Yes.
And last but by no means least, Billy Williams, 1927, 2 appearances. So what a bumper edition of They Played for Both that was. And I have to say, you boys did very, very well. You did
John
very
Hardy,
well.
I was proud of the John Hardy one because I was when he left, because I really thought he was going to be one from the academy.
Oh, Steve Hutchins has come in with a late run. He's realised that I've missed one because I'm an idiot. Alan Dickens.
Yes, of course.
Yes, he is on the list, Steve. Don't worry. I just forgot to read him out because I'm a plonker. All right. I think that's about everybody. Brilliant. Well done. Now, thanks to Paul Carter and his fantastic website, which is Stamford-bridge.com. Paul is on Twitter at Stamford_bridge. And also, well done, Nathan, because Nathan gives me all of this, other information about, the fact they were killed in action and stuff. Nathan is also going on our fabulous Chelsea FanCast World War I Battlefield tour. And he's very involved with the Chelsea Heritage Partnership.com. ChelseaHeritagePartnership.com is their website. And at CFC_heritage. And of course, Nathan is well known for the Chelsea Graves. What do they call it, Tony?
Chelsea Graves Society.
It is a society, isn't it?
It is
Chelsea
a society,
Graves.
yes.
Yeah,
and I saw him in the pub last night, and he's a lovely chap. He really is. He's a very, very funny guy, and interesting guy as well.
He is, and he's very lovely, as you rightly said. There we go. Apparently, I love it. You see, we've got them all wound up and enthused about this. We've got a lovely post here I'll share with you. There we go, from Gabriel A. According to Wiki, David Webb only played amateur for West Ham. Does that not discount him? Well, I don't know, Gabriel, because I don't make the rules. I just read them out. We'll have to ask Nathan if that counts. All right, but I'll try and remember to ask him. But it's a good point. Good knowledge, people. They're so much more knowledgeable than we are. Right now, I promised you a few additional plugs, but these are very, 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 very important. The first one is the Supporters Trust are very busy this weekend. Okay, they got a lot of staff going on. The first of which is I think the first time they've done this. It's like a drop-in. I'll just read out what they've said. A Meet the CST pop-in session. Now it'll be on the Fulham Road next to the Stoll Gates. So you know the Stoll Centre for the Veterans. Yeah, be at the Stoll Gates from midday to 1:30 on Sunday. Senior members of the Chelsea Supporters Trust Board will be available to speak with supporters about matchday problems and wider issues experienced, and they'll use this as information gathering. So your name will also be on the list with relevant feedback, and will be reported directly to club officials. So it's a good way. You know what they say about the trust? Get your voice heard. Absolutely. This is what it's about. So go and talk to them, and they will talk to the people that run the club and tell them how you feel. So it's a great opportunity for all the members and supporters to speak directly with the trust about any difficulties you're experiencing, or simply just say hello. And as an independent body formed of elected officials, it is important for them to be open, transparent, and present with their members and supporters. And therefore, we're going to hold these pop-in sessions on a more regular basis if successful. So there we go. You can always just email the trust anyway if you've got a gripe about anything. Inquiries@chelseasupporters.com. Now, in addition, at the Stoll Gate at the same time, there will also be a food bank with Cliff and Paul there. So if you want to, kill two birds with one stone, you can. I mean, if you go and check out the Supporters Trust website or their Twitter feed, Chelsea S Trust, it'll tell you what items you can donate, but usually cans of things goes down very well. But have a look there because they will know better. You could just bung them a tenner or something as well. You can pay money rather than going to do some shopping. And last but no means least, there'll be a very good reason why I will not be available at the pop-in session, because I am on over-the-line duty at the, we've got the over-the-line hub at the Copthorne Hotel, ground floor foyer. And as you know, Over the Line is our mental health initiative. So if anybody on a match day, or, if they're there on a match day and have been or are struggling with their mental health, on any mental health issue, really, and you want to know how you can get some help, the Over the Line kind of points you in the right direction. But on a match day, we have these hubs. As I said, it'll be at the ground floor foyer in the Copthorne Hotel. But also this time a new place as well. We've got two places going at the corner of the Matthew Harding and West stands, and Mind, or counsellors from Mind, will be available. So if you want to have a general chat about how to reach out and get some help, they'll help you with that. If you're in a bit of a more serious state, then they will have a private chat with you. We've got rooms available at the hotel where you can have a private chat with any of the Mind counsellors, which is a very good idea. Now, I will be there floating around between the hotel and the corner of the Matthew Harding, and I shall be wandering around the stadium handing out information and cards to people, so they've got some information about how they can get help with their mental health. So if you spot me, come and say hello. I always like talking to people on a match day, as everybody knows. You can follow Over the Line at Get Over the Line on Twitter, and more importantly, the website where all of this information can be found, where you can actually go and find information about how to get help with your mental health, is overtheline.uk, www.overtheline.uk. So I think that pretty much wraps up all the plugs you'll be completely and utterly delighted to know, I would imagine, because there was quite a few of them. But they're important. I mean, what do you think, boys? I mean, it's important, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, it's important, and the more people feel confident enough to go and talk to people, the better. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer, isn't it? Let's face it. And we all know men are the worst. We are the worst.
They are.
And I've got plenty of examples of where I've just sat there and said, "Oh, yeah, the dude will say something, mate."
Yeah. Anyway,
what do you think I am? I'm not an ogre. I'm not. That's but yeah, we've all been there. We all tread that line very finely.
We do. So anyway, but if you see me around, pop over, say hello. And as I said, if you're in more trouble, then you can always go and see a counsellor from Mind in the hotel.
Where is it, Chidge? Where exactly is it?
The Copthorne Hotel, go straight through, and instead of going up the escalators, keep going straight, and they're basically got a little space underneath the escalator, kind of technically. Okay, they've got a little setup
next to the bar, next to the
Frankie's
on the left. Yeah.
It's in between Frankie's and the 1905 Club.
Yeah.
So straight through, instead of going up the escalator, which is what you normally do, you go straight past the escalators, and there's a few of them sitting around there on sofas, ready to have a chat with you about anything you like. So there you go. But they've got another setup in the Matthew Harding West Stand corner. So they've got some people there. There'll be a presence there as well. I shall be floating around between the two. And as I said, come and say hello. It would be lovely to talk to people, as I said. So, right, we really should think about buggering off, really. We've been here for 2 hours. I've only just realised. We will be back, though. We will return. JK and I will be back on Monday at 7:30, joined by the wonderful Martin Wickham to look back at the West Ham match. I'm already looking forward to it. Keep sending your emails in for an edition of In Off the Post. Won't be next week because I've got things on, but hopefully it'll be on in a week or two. And we will read your email addresses out. The address, of course, is chelseafancast@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can get a discount, the best discount off your NordVPN plan by going to nordvpn.com/Chelsea Fancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you will help support the Chelsea Fancast. And you can follow us on the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast. Me at Stamford Chidge, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and Tony at Grocer Jack UK. Boys, Tony, of course, absolutely lovely to see you, mate. I won't see you in the pub on Sunday, but I will hopefully see you.
I might have to wander down because I'm actually not. I'm not driving on Sunday, but I can have a couple of beers. But that's my last game of the season because I'm not going to be at the Bournemouth game, and Attilio is going to.
Why don't I pop down at half time for a pint?
Then you'd be more than welcome, mate. It would be lovely, lovely to see you there.
Because, I'll do that.
Well, we might need a pint, mate.
We might. I'll definitely do that.
Two questions. Yeah. First of all, we're not reviewing Chelsea Spurs. We've just done that.
Yes.
No, you're right. You see, this is. I told you. You know when I said to you earlier, I'm really fucked. Do you remember me saying that?
Yeah. It's on several occasions at the beginning. Yeah.
You've now got cast iron proof. Okay.
But also, it's a bank holiday. Are you sure you want to do it then?
No, because I can't. You see, the thing is, I can't do shows on Tuesdays because I work from 8:30 in the morning until 8 at the evening, and I can't do it. I'm just too fucked. And then I have to get up at stupid o'clock on a Wednesday morning for a client at 7:30. So it's just not happening. So it's Monday or shit or bust. Although I have to say, I mean, I don't know if Dean is still listening in the comments. I saw he was in there earlier, but I might have to move the Monday, the 13th show to the Sunday, if possible. The match is on the Saturday. It's following the Forest one. I don't know if you boys are available on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Which Sunday is this? Sorry.
But you're away, mate. But it's the 13th of May. Right. I've got JK and Dean down for that one. So, Dean, if you're listening still, ping me a message in the comments because I've got to do something on the Monday night. But there you go. Anyway, where were we in the going away? Oh, I know. We've only got... I was... Thank you, Tony. I was saying, wasn't I? I was in the middle of saying thank you, Tony.
Yes. No problem. It has been a pleasure and a joy, as you know.
It is. And a massive, lovely thank you to JK, not least for spotting my typo.
Is that the only good thing I've contributed this evening?
I said not least.
Yeah, but it's still something significant, though, isn't it?
Well, not least. Not least implies there's been a tsunami of fantastic JK moments in this 2-hour show tonight.
I was going to be
careful. Not the way I look at not least.
Yeah, he seems to have turned into Andrew Neil.
I cannot help. I cannot help your self-esteem issues, JK. In fact,
no, it's not self-esteem. It's syntax.
Is it?
It's syntactical. Yeah.
Have we signed another Brazilian or something? I didn't hear about.
I only know Tintax.
That would be Portuguese. Syntax. Yeah, Tintax as well. Yeah.
Tinto Tintax. His name.
Yeah.
Tax on tin.
JK, you are an old bugger, and I love you. I love you. Brilliant fun tonight. Well done for your fan bite. That was a cracker the other night, and I look forward to reliving all of this again on Monday night.
Thank you. That's very lovely to say. Thank you. And
No.
well done, Tony. As always, joy to be on the show with you. Thank you.
Oh, I love it, JK. It's been absolutely brilliant, and the fact that we can disagree like proper gents is the joy of it. But I don't know if we have disagreed tonight. Actually, I think we've complemented each other perfectly.
Possibly slightly on Mudryk, because I still think he's He's,
I'm reining my neck in on Mudryk a little bit because of what I said about Cucurella, who's happily shoveling them words back down my throat right now. So.
Well, let's hope he turns.
Hedging my bets. Chief.
Let's hope he turns it round. Right, you lot out there. Well done, you two. You've been brilliant tonight, as always. It's been great fun. You lot out there, thank you for listening and watching. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, keep it Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea, come on.